What's up, Taiwan? I'm Eric Gao with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Starting off with local politics. The 2024 national elections are fast approaching, and the main candidates for president hit the ground running this weekend, with all three holding campaign rallies. While they spoke about a host of domestic issues, Taiwan's relations with China loomed large over the discussions. Jeremy Olivier has more.
It's just over half a year before Taiwan's 2024 general election, and presidential hopefuls have been stepping up their campaigns and hitting the trails. The three main candidates for president held rallies on Saturday. In past elections, the key issue dividing candidates has been how to handle Taiwan's relationship with China. That's especially true this year, with the stakes of cross-strait relations extremely high. The ruling Democratic Progressive Party is more wary of China and its intentions. Its candidate, Vice President and Party Chair Lai Ching-te, rejects the idea of one China, which says that Taiwan and China belong to the same country. The main opposition Kuomintang, or KMT, has a friendlier approach to China, something the DPP have zeroed in on. At his rally in Jiayi on Saturday, Lai lashed out at the KMT candidate, New Taipei Mayor Hou You-yi.
國民黨包括伊的候選人接受九二共識，如果接受九二共識這個中國原則，放棄台灣的主權，只不過是一步一步走向專制獨裁懷抱嘛。
The 1992 consensus refers to an unspoken agreement between the KMT and China's Communist Party. Under it, both sides agree on the basic idea of one China. But while the CCP says that this means the People's Republic of China, the KMT maintains that it refers to Taiwan's official name, the Republic of China. Ho hit back at Lai later in the day. Speaking in New Taipei City, he said most people in Taiwan wouldn't accept unification with China being forced on them. He added that Taiwan needs to keep bolstering its self-defense capabilities, which would make it costlier for China to start a war.
不要让国家在爱不爱台湾的无谓纷扰，陷入战争的残酷风险中。一句话，要叫人投互你。我内心直接讲就是用我的性命顾台湾的安全。
Meanwhile, former Taipei mayor and chair of the Taiwan People's Party, Ko Wen-je, held an event in New Taipei's Danshui district to announce his candidacy. Hundreds of supporters attended despite the rain. As mayor, Ko sought exchanges with China through the annual Taipei-Shanghai Forum. During the rally, he said that he would work to maintain cross-strait peace while safeguarding Taiwan's autonomy.
台湾不应该是外媒所说世界最危险的地方，恢复和对岸的沟通管道。我会继续以5个互相的原则，促进两岸和平。
As the candidates began ramping up activities ahead of the vote, their stances and records on both domestic and foreign policy issues are set to come under the spotlight. But with its increasingly aggressive behavior toward Taiwan, China will likely remain front and center in their campaigns. James Lin and Jeremy Olivier for TaiwanPlus.
The head of the World Health Organization has been confronted by protesters asking him to support Taiwan joining the agency.
If member states, we have 194. If they vote in favor, that's their duty, you see?
Yeah, but
so
Taiwan
it's for
is
the
also...
member states.
WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom was speaking in Geneva on Sunday, just before the opening of this year's World Health Assembly. Taiwan was an observer at the assembly between 2009 and 2016. But since then, China has blocked it from attending. Taiwan's allies, like the US, say Taiwan should be allowed to take part. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden has said that his country will continue to help Taiwan defend itself. Here he is speaking at the final day of the G7 summit in Hiroshima.
We're not going to tell China what they can do. We made it clear that we don't expect Taiwan to independently declare independence either. But in the meantime, we're going to continue to put Taiwan in a position that they can defend themselves. And there is clear understanding among most of our allies that, in fact, if China were to act unilaterally, there would be a response.
Biden's comments come after the G7 agreed to step up sanctions on Russia following its invasion of Ukraine. Under the U.S.'s Taiwan Relations Act, Washington commits to supplying Taiwan with weapons for its defense. but the law does not obligate the U.S. to come to Taiwan's aid in the event of a conflict with China, although Biden has previously said that it would do so. Russia's invasion and Chinese aggression were also both mentioned in a joint communique released by G7 leaders on Saturday. The host city of the G7 summit is best known as the place where atomic weapons were used for the very first time. The group's leaders reaffirmed a commitment to a world without nuclear weapons, but as James Chater reports, survivors of the Hiroshima bombing aren't convinced.
The flame at Hiroshima's Peace Memorial still burns. Lit in 1964, it will only be extinguished when nuclear weapons are abolished. It's an ongoing source of pain for Mamaki Toshiyuki. He survived the atomic bomb that detonated here more than 70 years ago, the first time a nuclear weapon was ever used.
私は3歳でした。でも泣きべそをかきながら帰ったり上からいろんなものをこう降ってくるわけよ。紙のこの焼けたようなものがね。
Now 80, Toshiyuki heads a group that advocates for the bombing's survivors, calling for an end to nuclear weapons. It's a demand he also put to the leaders of G7 states who recently gathered in Hiroshima. The message of the atomic bomb survivors more urgent with the passing of time.
その平均年齢が84歳とかね、もうみんなおじいさんおばあさんですから、どんどん亡くなっていって、やがて被爆者がいなくなる。
In 1945, 140,000 people died when the US dropped an atom bomb on Hiroshima, bringing an end to World War II.
The city of Hiroshima lies prostrate.
Temperatures near the hypercenter reached more than 3,000 degrees Celsius, incinerating much of the city. Hiroshima still bears the scars of that day, this dome a potent symbol of the horrors wrought by nuclear war. It said Japanese Prime Minister Kishida selected this, his hometown, to host the summit, as strained geopolitical tensions raise fears the history of Hiroshima could be repeated. Moscow has threatened nuclear force in Ukraine, and in China and North Korea, nuclear arsenals are expanding.
Thank you.
But 3 of the G7 states have nuclear weapons too. So for young activists like Tanaka Miho, commitments the leaders made here to a nuclear-free world fell flat.
There is no responsible nuclear power, nuclear states. History shows us like everyone goes the wrong ways.
There were hopes that world leaders gathering where the atomic age began could have been what brought it to a close. But Toshiyuki is not optimistic. He fears the flame here in Hiroshima could continue to burn long after he is gone. Andy Schuer, John Van Trieste and James Chater in Hiroshima, Japan for TaiwanPlus.
Newly published survey of Chinese people suggests that more than half would support a full-scale war against Taiwan. Researchers ran an online poll in 2020 and 21 of more than 2,000 Chinese. They were asked to rate different policies on Taiwan. 55% said full-scale war was acceptable to them, but the same percentage said they could accept keeping the status quo and waiting for Taiwan to unify peacefully. The researchers behind the poll say it shows Chinese people support a wide range of policies on Taiwan, not just military conflict. Meanwhile, China says that products from U.S. memory chip firm Micron technology pose a threat to its national security and will bar Chinese firms from using them. On Sunday, Beijing's cyberspace regulator said several of Micron's products failed a security review. Chinese firms in transportation and finance now cannot buy Micron's products. The regulator did not say what risks the review found, nor which products would be affected. The move comes after the U.S. restricted chip technology exports to China. Micron says it is cooperating with the Chinese government. Back in Taiwan, video was captured of police beating a man outside a convenience store in the northern city of Taoyuan. The incident started after the man allegedly struck the officers. The violent response has sparked a discussion over whether the police used excessive force. Bing Wang reports.
This security footage shows police in the northern city of Taoyuan beating a man 12 times with a baton. It comes after a 28-year-old personal trainer had an outburst in a convenience store, knocking over merchandise. The store's clerk then called the police. When they arrived, the police pepper sprayed the man to subdue him. He struck back, and the officers suffered bruises and a mild concussion. A second video, seemingly recorded after the first confrontation, appears to show one officer hitting the man repeatedly as he sits on the ground. The videos were widely shared on social media, igniting a debate over the officer's use of force.
骚扰的案件出现了施作强制力过当的一个状况，我们会针对整个过程详加调查，了解清楚后追究相关责任。
According to Amnesty International, police brutality happens often in Taiwan, most notably during the Sunflower Movement in 2014, when students occupied the Legislative Yuan to protest the passing of a law that favored trade with China.
It's a problem in Taiwan. You can see that when we saw that the police brutality happened during the 2014 the Sunflower Movement, the police who beat the students and the protests.
8 years passed before any accountability for the Sunflower incident was established, and only recently the police were required to pay each of the 15 victims $50,000. Taiwanese people generally trust the police, but opinion on their behavior in the most recent incident has been divided, with many on social media criticizing the officers. Those responsible for teaching law enforcement say officers tread a fine line. Officials say a full investigation will be conducted, and the findings will be used to improve police behavior if necessary. Eason Chen and Bing Wang for TaiwanPlus.
In the art world, children's toys, life jackets, and Stone Age tools. These are just some of the objects that Chinese dissident artist Ai Weiwei is using at an art exhibit underway in London. Reporter Laurel Stewart has more.
A massive pile of Lego bricks. This isn't playtime at nursery school. This is the work of one of China's most renowned artists, Ai Weiwei. It's one of 42 pieces he's displaying at London's Design Museum. The artist says the bricks are a metaphor for the speed and uniformity of China's development. He says it's also about how governments try to manipulate the way people view the past, building their own narrative piece by piece.
If we talk about China, any truth related to history, what happened, has been purposely covered or destroyed. They never let you know the whole, what happened, the whole history.
This installation is made up of 250,000 spouts of teapots and wine vessels. They were dug up from sites dating back 1,000 years to China's Song dynasty. It's a comment on free speech. The spouts, or mouthpieces, have all been removed. Many consider Ai the world's most famous activist artist. Arrested and imprisoned briefly in China in 2011, he's lived in exile since 2015. An artist, filmmaker and writer, he is relentlessly critical of China's government and its human rights record. The museum's director says Ai's campaigning and politicised art are welcome in the UK.
And I think Ai Weiwei is one of those people who unflinchingly will express the world as he sees it, but also give us opportunities to see the world and confront the world in different ways.
Ai is not just critical of the Chinese government. This snake made of life jackets is a nod to the European refugee crisis, in which thousands of people have drowned trying to cross the Mediterranean Sea. He says designers can't just create pretty objects, they need to tackle hard truths. Whether pieced together like this brick recreation of Monet's water lilies, or pulled apart like this pile, Ai Weiwei's works offer space for people to draw their own conclusions. Eason Pan and Laurel Stewart for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we leave you with images of women learning to make belts that hold the traditional Yemeni dagger. I'm Eric Gao. Take care and see you next time.